What's up, y'all? It's T. Ross. Welcome back to another episode of Win Wednesday, presented by Helping Homies Win in partnership with La Create Space. This is a platform for us to highlight the people in the community, the homies, who are winning in their respective lanes and giving you all the tips on how you can win as well. Today's episode, I'm really excited by. I got my good brother here, Zyaire Porter. And we're going to break down some of the things that he's into, the work that he does as a photographer, and some of the journey that's kind of brought him to where he is, the things that he's learned. I've met him actually here in the city of Inglewood. Yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. So, Brother Zyaire, welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate you for having me.
Most definitely, bro. Appreciate you pulling up. Go ahead and let the people know who you are and what you do.
Greetings, good people. My name is Zyaire Porter. I am by trade a photographer, but I'm just a creator of all things. I'm from Inglewood, born and raised, but I've been in many cities around the Los Angeles area. But yeah, I just create things that will outlive me. That's pretty much it in a nutshell.
That's good. That's good, bro. Man, so we're here.
We are. Hometown. Love
Hometown, bro.
Gotta love
Inglewood
it.
native.
True indeed.
So I remember, man, this is back, I want to say 9th grade, man. Takeover.
Lord.
Takeover days, bro. That's where I remember you.
As a young lad.
Young Swags.
True indeed. I am young Swags.
So
we're going that far back.
Bro,
Okay,
that's
got
far,
it.
bro. We back there, man. We back there.
Gotcha.
So, that's what I remember. I'm just kind of, setting the tone. This is
Absolutely.
where I remember, right here in the city, and going to Takeover. Just the community that was here, and I think about who you were, who I understood you to be at the time, right?
Right.
Over the years, what you were working on, some of those projects. I remember SwaggerTory.com,
Indeed.
right? I remember checking SwaggerTory faithfully, bro.
I appreciate you.
Your blog, and just what I felt was the pulse on the culture at the time.
Right.
So I want to make sure we get into that. And I remember just the voice that you had, right? Online, but even in person, back at Takeover. I remember when you first had Talia and the game that you were giving us young dudes at that time about what that looked like for you as a parent.
Right.
And that just stood out to me. So significant. I remember it vividly.
Right. And that's crazy because that feels like a lifetime ago. Like, I don't see it like that. I only see myself for who I am right now, but I can remember all the things I've done before.
Yeah. So when you introduce yourself as a creator of all things, that's what started to go through my head. I started to think about the voice you've had and the things that you've put out into the world that represent something.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you don't know my experiences with these things and
Right.
what that meant and the things that you said that stuck with people along the way. So that's amazing that's like your approach to it. Of course, by trade, photographer, but those are things that are significant. So tell me a little bit. Let's just start from the beginning. Like being in Inglewood, like what were some of your experiences? What were some of your hopes and dreams growing up?
Whew, that far back. Growing up in Inglewood, my first house was on 113th and Doty, not far from Imperial. So I really didn't have any other dreams other than just looking up to my siblings. Like, I thought I wanted to play basketball because my dad and my brother always played basketball. So I was like, well, I guess that's what men do. That's what I'm supposed to do. So
Yeah.
I'm going to play basketball. So I was just playing basketball around the house. I was a very gamer kid. Like, I had the Sega Genesis, so I was always into like tech, not knowing then, but it made sense later on in life. But back then I was just into video games. I was just a regular kid. I played outside. I would take some bricks and a piece of wood and my bike would go off the ramp and I'll fall, get some cuts, put a Band-Aid on it, go back outside, like 3 flags up, like tag. Like, I was an outside kid. Shout out to Centinela Day Camp too. That's a lot of my childhood summers were spent there before it was Edward Vincent. Rest in peace, Leonard. Yeah, regular kid, I guess. I guess that's not regular for kids now, but
yeah, that's not regular.
Somebody my age, that was the greatest childhood ever.
Right. That's big. So, I think that's so significant. You talk about how those moments kind of built you into who you are.
Right.
Those experiences, going outside, playing on games, the whole nine. What did that moment mean for you? Let's talk about like Takeover, that era of Takeover. If you can look back on that time, I felt like that was something special.
Absolutely.
To the city. But even beyond the city, other people looking in to see what was happening.
Right.
What does that time represent for you?
That time was probably the most important time of my life because I met one of my best friends. I met the woman who will become the mother of my child. And I think that time period saved thousands of kids, period. Like, whether you was almost gangbanging, where you were a gangbanger and you stopped gangbanging, whether you was just in between and lost and you almost was gone and you didn't know who to turn to, like the takeovers, the Bible studies, the conversations we had, going to Cheesecake Factory with Kirk Franklin and he paid a whole bill. Like, a lot of kids never experienced that. Like, we just all go, 100 kids, just go eat and nobody looks for the bill. Like, nobody looks, everybody knows Kirk's fan and you can get whatever you want. Like, it's certain small experiences like that changed a lot of our lives and just made us look at the world differently. Even I remember going to Dallas one time with Kirk Franklin, and I was also in the music video with him. So I forgot about that too. I was in This Is It, the Declaration video, but he also brought me and my friends to a performance in Dallas where we didn't know that was possible. Like, I'm a kid in high school. I'm like, what do you mean you gonna fly us to Dallas and then bring us back? But long story short, like, we went to Dallas, perform, and then came right back. We went to his house, swimming at like 2:00 in the morning and stuff like that. So that time period was very important to me, and I'm sure a lot of other men and women, because it saved our lives.
Yeah, that's big. So kind of fast forward to that moment that I speak to, Takeover was just a place where, for me, I got a chance to be around people that looked like me, having similar experiences. I went to Laces.
Right.
And the high school was just very different as far as the people that I was around. Right. So being around others from my community with similar experiences, the things that we were exposed to, it's extremely transformative time in my life as well when I think about being able to be exposed to others and like the things that everyone was dealing with,
right,
where we can be vulnerable and share. It was nothing, there's nothing like it. That's how I feel.
At all.
Even to this day.
And it will never be recreated. Like, that specific time, those people, like, we were meant to experience that for us and nobody else.
Yeah. So, I speak to that moment where I remember, you got on the mic and you were just talking about just how real life is, how serious it is, how serious we have to take life. Being a new parent at the time, and I remember kind of sit back, think like, dang, I don't know what that's like. 'Cause I think you're a year older than me.
Possibly. I turned 31 September.
Yeah, so I turned 30 on Monday.
It's lit. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you, bro. Yeah. Thank you. So, that to me represented a lot of what that space meant. That's one of the key moments that I remember standing out. You know what I mean? Where it was like, dang, like, life is real.
Right.
Like, things can happen like this. You know what I mean? And having to own up to just our responsibility, especially as men, as black men,
right,
from the city. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, talk to me about, I guess, that transition for you at that time into parenthood and where you were in your life at that time.
Hoo-wee. That's a mental trip. I was 17, and when I found out that I was going to be a father, I didn't tell anyone. I didn't tell my family for a while. I think the first people I told was my best friend Paul, and then I told the discipleship we were in. In that discipleship, when I told them, I didn't get the answer that I wanted to receive, because I was like, this is your information for me? Like, I'm telling y'all, I have a baby on the way. What do? I'm 17, blah, blah, blah. But in hindsight, I look back, like, the men in our discipleship, they weren't fathers and they weren't married. So they didn't have kids either. So they didn't understand that perspective, let alone being 17 with that perspective. So I left the discipleship. And then I had to really understand what I was about to become, because in my life, death and life has always changed me, whether for good or for bad or for indifferent. Those are the major keys that I can catapult the time where this happened, then I launched, and this happened, I went down. But becoming a father at 18, my birthday was 2 weeks before hers, it was, I had to become everything that I'd said I didn't want to be about my dad. So me thinking about how much I didn't like my dad, let alone if we got along or whatever the case may be, I immediately started playing in my head, I'm not going to do that, I'm not going to do that, I'm not going to do that. But then the more I became a father, I was like, man, I understand why he did that. I understand what it's like to do a job you don't like just to get money to provide for your child. Like, I understood a lot about my father becoming a father. So it was it was the craziest time of my life, but the result is the best thing I've ever gotten in my life, which is my child.
That's amazing, bro.
Indeed.
That's a beautiful thing. You know, I think that's a conversation I wish we had more about. You know, I don't have the best relationship with my father. You know, and I look at even in the disconnect, the influence and impact he's had on me that I wasn't even conscious of. You know, and in my relationship with my girlfriend and you know, just out in the world, I start to see some of those things come to the forefront, and it's like I'm faced with having to deal with it.
Absolutely.
I'm faced with having to make a decision. You know, when you speak about kind of coming into this place of recognizing the things that you didn't want to do, but then you start seeing it, how did you deal with that?
Just really identifying myself. Like, you have to be honest with yourself about who you are. You can't lie to yourself. That's a pretty big thing that people do often. You can't lie to yourself because you're with that person every day. Like, you know exactly what you're going to do. You know your thoughts. You know your desires. You know where you come from. So trying to pretend like you're not yourself is a waste of time. So I really just stopped pretending to be somebody else, or not pretending to be somebody else. I stopped pretending to be who I thought I wanted to be.
Ooh.
And started becoming who I knew I was. So once I figured that out, it was nothing can stop me.
So I'm as far as time, I'm not too familiar with like where you like specifically all the things you were doing at that time, but I think that is such a significant like life-changing event. Obviously,
Indeed,
becoming a parent, having to look yourself in the mirror and make this decision about who you're going to be or who you are, and owning that and accepting that. So I think that's major. Tell me about like SwaggerTory. Tell me about the creation of it, how you got into that, and like the life of it.
Got it. SwaggerTory, my name was Young Swags.
Yep.
So SwaggerTory was a blog I started to basically promote all the things that was happening on the West Coast, because it wasn't happening back then. It was very New York based or Texas based, and we weren't getting a lot of the recognition that we now have and that we now deserve. So back then it was Pac Div, Dom Kennedy, Kendrick Lamar's first EP mixtapes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And even to the more inner city level, like A-Rock and Blase and Hope and Cool Roy. This is when Janae Aiko first came back out, and the list goes on and on. But of course now they're popular and they're respected. Eric Bellinger is another one. J-Do, Scheme. So all of those people were here and putting out music before they became famous and popular. So that's what SwaggerTory was for. I wanted to represent us to the outside world. So I would go to events, make content, and then send it out to Ashley Outrageous in Florida and stuff like that, Two Dope Boys, and I go to YG's video shoot and do stuff like that and send it to Sway in New York. So it was getting the proper perspective of us to other places. So kind of like a put a respect on our name. So I started that blog, and that honestly was the caveat to get me to photography, because I was shooting the events. I was shooting the behind the scenes. I was already doing what I was supposed to be doing. I just didn't know it. So yeah, SwaggerTory.com was born. I think the slogan was entertainment at its west, or best?
Its west.
At its west,
At
right?
its west, yeah.
Entertainment at its west, not at its best. So yeah.
Damn.
SwaggerTory.com, man.
I don't know if I realized that you were out shooting and doing these yourself.
I still have those pictures.
Wow.
My hard drive is priceless.
Man.
And that's how it's supposed to be.
Right.
I'm passing that down to my kid, and it's like 28 terabytes of just stuff. Like I got Chris Brown backstage with James Harden and Wiz Khalifa. I got Kendrick Lamar's first show at the Key Club, Schoolboy Q's Groovy Tour.
Key Club, bro.
Key Club. That's why photos are important. Like,
yeah.
It documents the time. So it's a lot of that. Vince Staples and Audio Push and HS87, Hit Boys, everything. I have a lot of stuff. So.
That's timeless, man.
Indeed.
That's timeless. So do you remember what year you started SwaggerTory?
Talia was born in 2008, so probably, I was still in high school, so 2009.
2009, so after Talia was born.
Yep.
Wow. So you came into this place of realizing, okay, there was a void, essentially, or that we weren't represented in the way the recognition we deserved.
Correct.
Right? So you were out going to these events. I think this is interesting because right now, we're living in a time where everyone has a brand, everyone has a voice, everyone has their own personal medium to like exchange information or share info.
Right.
And you were collecting, shooting, creating content at a time where I think that wasn't something everyone was looking to do.
Right.
Right. So what got you into recognizing you had access to do that is really what I want to know.
I've always been a popular guy. I'm pretty known. So it wasn't more of a, hey, can you get me in here? It was more of a, hey, we going, you coming? All right.
Okay.
And I bring my camera. So just because I know like it'd be some crazy stuff happening, so I'm like, why not? Why not document this? But yeah, I've known YG since high school, from the click days and stuff like that. I've known Scheme just from being from Inglewood and stuff like that. Like everybody to me is local.
Gotcha.
Like, of course, they're famous now, stuff like that, but it's not hard to connect to somebody from here if they're really from here.
Yeah.
So you know somebody's mom, aunt, cousin. We went to high school together. We did this. We went to World on Wheels together. We've been at Skate Depot. So, and being that I was all over the city, I can connect to somebody somehow. And if I couldn't, my brother could, because he's just as popular as I am.
Got you. Man, that's beautiful. Like I just think back to that time again. It was this wealth of information that felt relevant to me and my experiences, what I was listening to, the events and the perspective that I wanted.
Right.
You know, because blogs were just so huge at the time. You know, of course now we have social media and pages, but
Blogs aren't even used anymore for what that used to be. That was just TMZ and Shade Room,
bro. But it was such an art. You know what I mean? Like, I remember when you put out that you were SwaggerTory was done with. I'm like, what? Like
you want to know why?
Yeah, tell me that. Like, get how? Why?
The ending of SwaggerTory was because Rihanna was trying to sue for an image that was not licensed by the whatever. So I just paid the little, what's it called, settlement? I paid the settlement and then I deleted it. I was like, this ain't worth it.
Are you serious?
Because I did SwaggerTory for that many years and I've never made the amount of money from any of the posts for that amount that I had to pay for the settlement. So
wow.
So it was a copyright image of something that she didn't allow to go out, and then they were taking it down. So it was like a settlement type of thing. I paid the settlement and then I deleted it.
End of it.
That was the end of SwaggerTory. It wasn't worth it to me. I was like, I've done this for years and I've never. Like, I'm only trying to promote. So, obviously, what am I doing wrong? But, of course, it's the business side of it, and I didn't know that. I was just a kid blogging. So, but, yeah, that was it. I was like, I'm not doing this because I had a baby, and I'm like, I'm not paying this to blah, 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 but I didn't want any legal fees or legal terms and dealing with all that type stuff. And so I just paid it, and then that was the end of it.
Man. And what year was that?
Maybe 2012 or 13.
Okay.
I can't remember.
It's about 7-8 years ago. And I guess at that point, having ran it for almost a decade, right? What did you have any other future goals for it? Like as you were keeping it going?
I wanted to do more one-on-one interviews, but not me as an interviewer. I had a lot of original content things that were great ideas, but they didn't reach the peak I thought they should. And they're still on YouTube now. Like I keep my resume, so it's a lot of stuff I did a long time ago that people are doing now. So the whole I had Sing for SwaggerTory, I had Kenyon Dixon on there, and a lot of other people. I did interviews with Janae and Cleo Thomas, like people that are famous. Well, not famous, but never mind, you get it. So they're there and stuff like that, and then. Artists like BJ Chicago Kid and all that's still there. So I feel like I did what I was supposed to do with that, and then I moved on.
Okay. So at that point when you made the decision, okay, this is it, what was your next, did you have an idea of what your next outlet would be? Were there certain other things that were already brewing? Like that's a huge thing to kind of just have to shut down, and then where's your outlet in that moment?
Right. No, not really. I think that was when I started getting into Instagram, like when Instagram was just starting out, and you could post pictures and stuff like that. So between Instagram and Twitter, I was just bouncing back and forth from there, and nothing was really in the works. I did start another website after that, but not immediately after that. It was called Major Culture, kind of like a we major in the culture kind of thing. And I deleted that too because I just didn't have the passion for it anymore. It wasn't as fun as it used to be, and too much politics and stuff like that. So.
Gotcha. Things definitely shifted.
Yeah.
So tell me like how you got into photography. Like I know you said that SwaggerTory kind of gave you the familiarity, but When did that become a thing?
It became a thing with SwaggerTory and my daughter. When my daughter was born, I was like, she's never going to be this adorable and small again. I want to take as many pictures as I can. And that turned into, oh, wait, I can take pictures of other people because they're never going to be that same person again or same hairstyle. So my daughter, and then just being the content creator for SwaggerTory was how I started photography, those two. And that was the beginning.
Mm-hmm. And at that point, did you recognize that as like a source of income?
No, not immediately. Not even close. I was just, well, yeah. When I got the camera, I was like, "Ooh, I can make money with this," but I would have to get better.
Okay.
So, immediately no, but eventually it became what it became.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So you were working at Islands, right?
I was working at Islands. Shout out to Jersey for getting me that job. Damn. I was working at Islands for about 3 years, and then I just decided to quit because I kept missing opportunities in photography because I had to go to Islands. With restaurant jobs, you can't just call off, or I don't know about now, but you couldn't just call off back then. You had to find somebody to cover your shift. Oh. So being that it's a restaurant and they're like, no, I'm off today, I'm not covering your shift. So I would get hit up by J-Do, yo, we shooting a video with Busta Rhymes, can you make it? Nah, I gotta go to work. Damn. And that happened way too many times for my liking. So I became a server because the process was you're a host, back server, takeout, then server. And then if you want to continue up the chain, you go to bartending and then a manager. Okay. I got to being a server and I was like, I don't want to be a bartender. I don't want to be a manager. So there's nowhere for me to go here. Mm-hmm. So I just put in my 2 weeks. I had nothing planned, no backup, no nothing like that. And I just quit. Yeah. Of course, my mother didn't like it and you should go back to school and blah, blah, blah. But I couldn't. I couldn't miss out on more opportunities doing what somebody else wanted me to do. Yeah, yeah.
So what was that appeal, beyond obviously being able to do what you wanted to do, to say, you know what, I'm going to jump in and do this full-time thing, like photography? There's a bunch of questions in this. Mm-hmm. Did you know when you made that decision that this would be full-time, or did you say this is going to get me by?
Neither. I knew I wasn't going to make another million, and I didn't have any money for myself. So it was more about ownership of my time because I'm coming to Islands and I don't even know the owner. I don't know the manager. Mm-hmm. I don't know this rich guy who's getting rich off of my work. Yeah. But I'm here struggling and I'm barely making what I probably could make in photography. So when I made that decision, it was more so of, I don't care if I make $10 or $10,000. It's mine, and I made it with my time and my money and my way. Mm-hmm. So I didn't really care at that point about where the money was coming from. I just knew I had to own my time because I didn't want my daughter to have to do this. Wow. I didn't want her to do a job that she hated or a job that was halting her from what she wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, this was you need to find a good job. You need to go back to school and get a good job. And this is in my ear while I'm trying to figure out, I know school is not the route I'm going, so I need to figure out how to appease my mother, make money for my child, but also make myself happy. And that really didn't happen until maybe 10 years later. Wow. It took a long time for her to understand what I was doing, me to actually make enough money to support myself fully, and to take care of my daughter at the same time. So it takes time, but I own my time.
Right. What were some of the lessons that you feel like you learned in that process of making that decision to be, employed by yourself?
Number one is you're not crazy. I battle with that a lot, thinking that what are you trying to do? Just get a job, just get the money. You don't have to struggle like this. You don't have to be hungry like this. You don't have to just conform and get the job and do what everybody else is doing. And I've thought I was crazy for so many years because my sister did the perfect route. She went to school, college, nursing school. She's a nurse. She made 6 figures, whatever. So she did the perfect example, and she's my older sister, so of course I had that to look up to. My mom has worked at USC for almost 40 years, if not more. So those were the perspectives they had. So I'm like, I understand why you think like that, but that's not me. So I can't do what you did because I'm not you. So I learned not to be so harsh on yourself. Don't think you're crazy. Budget. You definitely have to budget, whether it's 10 cents. You better figure out wherever each penny is going. You can't just wing it and just, of course we live in abundance and stuff like that, but you can't be disrespectful to the abundance you have. So budget, you're not crazy, and have fun. You gotta remember why you don't want to be like them anyway. Like you have to experience your life in real time. Don't like people who, I'll just give an example. So people who go on trips and vacations and all they do on the vacation is take pictures of themselves in front of stuff. Like you're missing the entire point of the vacation.
Yeah.
You're supposed, or they're updating Instagram and Twitter the entire trip you're there. I'm like, you're defeating the purpose of leaving. Like come back and tell us about what happened.
Tell us about what happened. Hey,
Yeah, don't keep us updated in real time. Of course, there's people with sponsorships and stuff like that. But I'm talking about the person who works all the time, and then they take this well-deserved vacation, and then all they want to do on the vacation is take pictures. I'm like, no, enjoy yourself, be there, be present, and then tell us about it when you get back. But in that way, that's kind of the things that I learned in that process.
Yeah. So what year was that that you quit Islands?
Let's see, Courthouse LA. It's like had to be 2014, 15. Wait, no. 13, 14.
Okay.
Between 13 and 14.
13, 14.
So kind of like when SwaggerTory ended, it was the same time I quit Islands.
Okay. Man, so, and you said it took time for you to really start to see the reward. So these are some of the things you had to remind yourself along the way to keep going. Was there any particular moment that made you realize, oh, I got it, this is it?
Yep. Kendrick Lamar, the day before his album dropped. The day before his album dropped, and it was a Laker game at Staples Center.
Oh, yeah.
I was downtown. Well, no, I was near downtown. I wasn't downtown. He sent out a tweet that said, pull up such and such across the street from Staples Center. I'll be there. So I'm like, I'm close. I got my camera. I'm going to go. So, of course, I get there, and it's starting to fill up. It's packed. It's getting ridiculous. So it's like a double-decker bus with, like, TDE logoage and stuff like that on it. And he just come on top of the bus, start performing. I'm like, what is happening right now? Like, this is like, and it's loud, like speakers, and it's like a whole show on the corner of Figueroa and 11th.
Yeah.
So I got my camera, and I'm short. I'm like 5'7". So the louder he gets, or the people realize, like, because the Laker game just ended. So people are coming out of Staples and then walking into, like, Kendrick Lamar's performing outside? Like, what is this?
That was epic. I remember when that went out. Yeah.
So he performing. I'll make a long story short. He's performing. It gets louder. The crowd gets bigger. I'm short. I'm already in the back. So I look to my right. I said, oh, there's a tree. No hesitation in my mind. I didn't worry about if I can get hurt, if I can drop my camera. I'm climbing the tree, climbing it. I'm up here. Hey, hold my camera real quick. Okay. Get up there. Good looking out. I'm in a tree. Going crazy. Like, I have no idea. Like, I just know what is happening. I'm just shooting.
Yeah.
I see a flashlight on my back. I'm like, hey. I'm thinking it's somebody with a phone or whatever. Hey. I was like, huh? It's a cop with a flashlight. Yo, get down. I was like, huh? Shoot. I can't, what? I can't, the music loud. Get down or we're going to arrest you. All right. I get out the tree. But by that time, I shot at least like 400 pictures. Like that fast, wow. I didn't stop. But that was the moment. I was like you didn't even think about it. Like you didn't care. Like you wanted to get the picture. Like this is what you want to do. Mm-hmm. Like you're crazy. In my head, I'm like, what did you get in the tree for? You didn't know if it was ants, termites, whatever the case may be. But the fact that you ignored them, you was focused on that picture. So that was the moment. I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do.
This is it. Yeah, you took that initiative, man. I remember those photos, when you dropped those photos, other outlets were using it and it was moving.
Right.
That's a big moment. That's a big moment for sure. And, from that point, I'm trying to remember like my own timeline of like what I recall. Mm-hmm. You were working with some key people.
I worked with Baron right after
Baron, that was that time, right?
Yeah, LA Unified. I was hired by Baron Davis and the company he had called LA Unified. Where basically they were doing the same thing I was doing with SwaggerTory. Yeah. So they just needed authentic content from people authentically here. And that's what we did, whether it was with sports or the best food places to eat, like Tacos Por Favor in Santa Monica, stuff like that, that only we know about, not the tourist stuff. So back then, I was hired by him, and then, yeah. But I was still doing Porterhouse LA while doing LA Unified.
Right. So at that point, like you said, you knew from that moment, like, okay, this is for me.
Yep.
were there challenges that you had to overcome in that process?
Which process?
The process of, okay, adjusting to, okay, this is what I'm putting my all into at some point. Like, what were some of the challenges? Because as I think about, whatever industry we're in, there's a point where a lot of us make the decision, okay, I got to do this for myself.
Right.
Other people are getting rich off of my skill set, what I'm doing, the work I'm putting in. I find myself in that place often, and I'm going through that same process of like, okay, can I really do this? No, I know I can do this,
right.
but what's the hurdle, essentially, What were some of those things for you, like those challenges that maybe you didn't necessarily prepare for or think about, that took you a while to really like overcome and like grab hold of?
Well, money, of course. Money is always a hurdle. Whether not having it or having it and not knowing how to manage it properly. Okay. Money is a very large hurdle because you see it as, I need this lens or I need this camera, but I can't afford it. But I'm shooting stuff, but I'm not getting paid for it. This is not adding up to me. Like, yeah, that's the homie, but eventually I'm going to have to charge you because I can't keep shooting this way if I want to reach the goals that I have for myself. So that was a hurdle. And then even the communication of telling the people that you already work with, like, I need to be paid. I'm charging you for this. Like, but they like, huh? Like, you didn't charge before. I was like, I get it, but I'm letting you know ahead of time so you're not surprised by it. But if I have a goal I need to reach, so expressing that is a hurdle, communicating with the people that you already are in business with. And then access. Access is another one. Some people have their photographer. They don't want any other photographers. Some events don't want outside photography. Some artists don't want them self-photographed by some random person because they don't know where it's going. It's a lot of things. It's a lot of hurdles, but they all can be jumped over. That's why they're hurdles.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's why they're hurdles. That's
Indeed.
good. As I think about, again, this journey that I've got a chance to witness, you know what I mean, as you've been growing in Porterhouse, LA.
Indeed.
Tell me how you got to that name and the company of it.
Porterhouse, LA was the result of, I'm not playing with y'all no more. I'm not shooting for free. I'm not doing anything for free for you guys anymore. Respect it, pay it, or don't, but I don't have any hard feelings. I'm just letting y'all know that I'm serious about this. I have been serious about this, so now you guys can know how serious I am. The name Porterhouse, my last name is Porter. At the time, I loved steak, so I was like, "This goes together." That was stupid as hell, but it worked out. So
good, yeah.
I wanted to give the House of Porter kind of feel. So instead of using House of Porter, I just went with Porterhouse, LA, because that's where I'm from. But it's also a salute to my grandmother. She's from Louisiana, so it works out with LA on both ends. But Los Angeles, of course. But Porterhouse, just a flip on House of Porter. I started that, and I've been a successful photographer ever since. I've worked with a lot of different people, a lot of different types of people, successful people. But the one thing that kept me in photography is when I understood that no matter who you are and what you do, if you want to be successful at it, you need a photographer. Simple as that. Whether it's for your book, your YouTube page, your website, your flyer, your backpacks, your merch. If you have products, you need product shots. Everybody needs a photographer. Now, whether they know it or not is on them, but everybody needs a photographer.
That's a fact. That's a fact. I mean, you shot my most recent.
Come on now, talk about it.
You know what I'm saying? Made me feel like, okay, I got to do something with myself now. Because that's probably one of the biggest things, right? We always talk about, like you said, needing content, needing headshots, flyers, the whole nine. And I got tired of using phone shots or things that were just super outdated.
Right.
And I was like, man, I got to get out there and actually get
and you not even knowing, after I shot yours, I immediately said, I don't have any for myself. And I took some headshots right after yours.
Oh, wow.
So you inspired that because I was like, wait a minute, I'm successful. I speak on platforms and such. Like, I need headshots too. Like, I'm so used to, you need headshots. You need headshots. I'm like, I need headshots too. So yeah, you inspired that.
Wow.
And I even wore my Stan Smith like you. I felt very techie. Yeah.
That's real good. That's
Apple Watch and some Stan Smiths go together.
There it is. There it is. That's amazing. So what would you say to date has been, I don't want to say your biggest project, your most favorite project, like photography, like thing you worked on?
I don't think I can pick one. So many. I enjoyed shooting at the Drew League, summer of 2017. I enjoyed VidCon. I shot VidCon in 2019, I think. for Nike. Giannis was there and Simone Biles and a lot of David Dobrik and a lot of other celebrities and stars and stuff like that. I enjoyed that. I enjoy shooting Deshaun Golson's football camps when he did them, when he was still in the league, playing for 49ers and Buccaneers and stuff like that. It's a lot of stuff. All the LA Unified stuff. Shooting with Lisa Nichols. Shot her book cover. I enjoyed that. Morgan DeBon, most recently, creating for her and her new podcast and things for Blavity. And it's a lot of things.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I've shot a lot. I've met a lot of people. I've enjoyed a lot of people. I enjoy my career, yeah.
That's big, man. So, that's in the photography side, but you
Indeed.
definitely created a lot more things outside of photography.
Got to have multiple streams, man.
Hey, how many streams?
7 at minimum,
Why 7 streams, bro? Tell me about them 7 streams.
Well, 7 Streams Club is a brand I started based on financial literacy and having generational wealth based on making multiple streams of income, because these are the things that was not taught to me. So you mentioned all the things that I went through at 17, having a kid, going to islands and stuff like that. At no point did I have financial literacy in that. So if I did, I probably would have had a completely different journey.
Right.
So becoming a certain age and realizing like, man, if I did know these things, I probably wouldn't have went through what I went through at islands or with my daughter or figuring out how to make money with my camera or not using my camera. So I created the brand based on that. And then I realized that clothing, besides music, clothing is the best way to get a message out. Mm-hmm. It's easily the most easiest thing to get a message out. And it was actually a rebuttal, or I was irritated by Kanye's clothing with the I Feel Like Kobe and just shirts that had messages on it.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is so dumb. Like, I don't feel like him. Why would I wear a shirt that says that? And just all the other merch that was just, I guess, mundane to me. But as I realized, I was like, if he can make a simple statement like that and everybody wear it just because he's Kanye, I think I can put some important message on something and then see how it spreads. Mm-hmm. So that was where the original Generational Wealth shirt came out. And then it just kept building from there. Generational Wealth, and then Ownership. Charlemagne the God had it, and then posted it and promoted it and stuff like that. And then Tanya Rapley is another great supporter of the brand. But I'm just creating messages that need to be seen and heard and discussed. And I want somebody to see the piece and be like, what does that mean? Or where'd you get that from?
Yeah.
What you know about generational wealth? Let's talk.
Let's have a conversation.
Let's talk right now. Yep.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I want the shirt to do. So that was the creation of the brand in 2017. And we've been kicking ever since.
I love that. And I think it's dope that you got a chance to, that you have the opportunity to wear your own stuff.
Indeed.
I think collaboration is extremely important. Shout out to La Create Space where we are, by the way.
Hometown.
And that's what it's about, right? Collaboration and community. I see you're rocking 2 pieces, which are a result of collaboration. So tell us about what you're wearing and how those came about.
True indeed. So I love the full circle moment. So this, we was talking about Takeover. Mm-hmm. Takeover was founded or created by Davin Baptiste, who is also the creator of God Can Supply Store, who's just my mentor. He's the oracle. He's Davin. One of the greatest people on earth. So this is a collab between 7 Streams Club and God Can. The logo is Buy Black, and on the back it says Rebuild Black Wall Street. Because everybody knows now about Tulsa, Oklahoma, 1921, the bombing and destruction of the only black community that we had, which literally stopped generational wealth. So that's synonymous with my brand. So we made a collaboration to encourage the community and every community to recycle black dollars, because that's the only way we can have generational wealth. Regardless of making investments in stocks and stuff like that, we have to spend our money with us. That's that way the money stays with us and we continue to grow. This shirt is kind of like a celebration of what happens when we spend money with each other. We become black billionaires. Fine. So this was a collaboration with K. Lou. Lou Schutz, actually a friend of mine from high school. And we came up with, he designed it, but I came up with the idea of just black billionaires, American black billionaires. For the first volume, of course, we might do another one with some other people added to it.
Okay.
Now that LeBron has crossed the threshold.
Hands, right?
So yeah, I would love to continue to make these. That means we are all getting richer and wealthier and stuff like that. But This is the first one.
It looks good.
A few faces that you may know: Sean P. Diddy Combs, Sean Jay-Z Carter, Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey, Robert Smith, and Michael Jordan. And I feel like they represent black wealth in America, as far as at a physical standpoint.
Right.
Like other countries can look at America and be like, okay, these are black
These are
billionaires.
people, yeah.
So yeah, this is in celebration of them, and also I believe I can speak anything into existence because it starts with your mindset.
Yeah.
There's no way you can make $1 million in real life until you see it in your head.
Wow.
So
Wow.
it starts with your mindset.
That's big. That's big. What do you see, or what do you believe a win to mean? What does it mean to win?
A win is what you say it is, as far as your success. If you say today I want to make $10, if you make $10, that's a win. If you make $11, then you surpassed your win. But I think we as self can only determine what a win is for us. Nobody's description of a win should be for you, because that's their perspective, that's their life experience. So a win is what you determined it to be, and only you can determine that.
I resonate with that. I definitely resonate with that. Man, bro.
You're a winner. You should.
Right. I received that. I
Amen.
received that, man. So, man, it's been great, bro. I really appreciate you pulling up,
No problem,
sharing
man.
with us some of these gems and lessons along the way. Is there any final thing that you want to say, like about the work you do, about someone who may be out there watching who doesn't necessarily feel like they can take the leaps maybe that you've taken, that you've seen, that you've experienced
Gotcha.
in your span of life?
My only thing would be to you is do whatever you want to do, man. We are here for a limited time. Make yourself happy as long as it doesn't cause anyone else harm or unhappiness. Be true to yourself. You can do anything you put your mind to. There's nothing stopping you but you. And create something that's going to outlive you. That's it.
That's good. Bro, appreciate you pulling up.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Thanks for having me, man.
For sure, for sure. Well, thank y'all so much for tuning in to another episode of Win Wednesday with Helping Homies Win in partnership with La Create Space. If you want to get connected with Helping Homies Win, at Homies Win on Twitter, at Helping Homies Win on Instagram, helpinghomieswin.com. If you want to get connected with La Create Space, based here in Inglewood, California, lacreatespace.com. If you need a space to rent out for an event, you want to produce your own podcast, you need support, you want to join the online community, lacreatespace.com, La Create Space on all socials. And we see y'all next week on Wednesday. Peace.